What's up, everybody? Welcome back. We got more Mike Tyson on the agenda for today.
Yeah, Mike Tyson's a beast.
He's a beast because we watched his best knockouts. That's one of the other videos that we've done.
You probably saw me wince like 20 times in that one.
He was a beast, as Sam referred to. And that was really your first eye-opening experience, we'll say, with Mike Tyson, right?
Yeah, for sure. I never really got too into boxing, to be honest. This is kind of embarrassing, but I really only I had heard his name, but I only really knew who he was after he was in the Hangover movie.
Well, I wouldn't say it's embarrassing, right? Because you're a woman, and it's predominantly boxing is predominantly, I would say, a male interest, right?
Yeah, and I was younger, like when he was super popular.
Yeah, so. I mean, I appreciate the fact that you're a woman that takes at least some interest in watching some MMA, UFC, boxing, whatever. I won't say that you're enthralled with it all the time. However, she does make an effort, and that's more than a lot of the women that are out there. So I wouldn't say you need to be embarrassed about not knowing much about Mike Tyson to begin with. But, I mean, you had your experience in that video before. You were pretty much, I would say, blown away by his power.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And it was, something that you could really see on the video as well, right? It's not like something where you hear about somebody, oh, they're good, and you're watching them knock people out. And it's like, yeah, clearly he won a lot. You could see, when he hit people, it was like, whoa.
Lights out.
Yeah. And, it was from an early age, right? He was right on the scene. I mean, I think he started fighting when he was like 18 or something like that. And then he became a heavyweight champ real early on. And we have a little pop quiz question for you related to that, Sam.
Yeah.
The person that's becoming more educated on boxing is going to educate you guys right now.
So at what age did Mike Tyson become the youngest heavyweight champion of the world?
That's right. If you know that, drop it down low in the comments. Don't worry if you don't. We'll tell you at the end of the video. But today we're doing something a little bit different. We're doing Mike Tyson's intimidating aura. So we're going to go into a little more details on why he was such an intimidating figure and had so much notoriety, because I think that was part of his...
You mean aside from the fact that he literally destroyed everyone?
Yeah, I mean, it was one thing to visualize and see him actually beating the F out of everybody, but it was another thing to see the intensity that he brought. And I think I've heard Mike Tyson say that he felt like he beat people before he even before he threw a punch.
Interesting.
They were already defeated because they were so intimidated by him. And he got that mindset from reading about a lot of the early conquerors. So he had this thing where he likes to go back in history and read about all these great conquerors of different time periods and what made them great and why they were so influential in history, and learn from them. And so he kind of, I think, he really made an important part of his own character in that light. So anyways, I think we're going to find out a little bit more about that. So Sam's going to get a little more education on Mike Tyson. And I know she's so looking forward to it. Way more than I am. 100%, no doubt.
I don't know about that one, but...
all right. Well, we'll see how you feel after we get into it. You ready?
I'm ready.
Mike Tyson used his intimidating aura to give himself an added advantage before and during a fight.
I was beating guys off of just pure brute strength and intimidation. Most guys were just pretty much intimidated. They lost the fight before they even got hit.
After menacing pre-fight quotes and behavior,
if he doesn't die, it doesn't count.
Tyson would eye up his opponents from the moment he entered the ring, and he often sensed fear by looking at their body language and facial expressions.
I walk around the ring, but I never take my eyes off my opponent. I keep my eyes on him, even if he's ready and pumping. He can't wait to get his hands on me as well. I keep my eyes on him. I keep my eyes on him. I keep my eyes on him. Then once I see a chink in his armor, boom, and one of his eyes may
like
move.
A tiger.
Then I know I have him. Then when he comes to the center of the ring, he still looks at me with his piercing look, and as if he's not afraid. But he already made that mistake when he looked down for that 1/10 of a second. I know I had him.
Tyson scored many quick and brutal knockouts throughout his whole career, 22 of them coming at the very first round.
Holy crap.
And having a reputation as a devastating power puncher that could end a fight in the blink of an eye further enhanced his intimidating aura.
That was right to the body and an uppercut to the head, and Burbick is down.
1,
it's over. That's all, and we have a new era in boxing.
The best example of Tyson's intimidation affecting an opponent before a fight came on June 27, 1988, when he faced Michael Spinks in a huge unification fight for all 4 heavyweight championship belts.
Now we'll see who's the champion and who's the chump.
Both men were undefeated. Tyson held the WBC, WBA, and IBF belts, while Spinks was the lineal champion. On the night of the fight, just minutes before Spinks was due to ring walk, there was chaos around Tyson's dressing room area after Butch Lewis, Spinks' manager, complained about a bump in Tyson's left glove and demanded that it be rewrapped.
So remember we were watching the Bruce Lee video, and in that video they said Bruce Lee could do 9 punches and 6 kicks in 1 second.
Yes,
and
I
then
do remember that.
We were debating. We were like, we don't think that's possible.
Yeah.
And you were saying that, like, you were giving me the demonstration of how
I've
many punches you could do.
tested it, and it's not possible.
Well, we just saw Mike Tyson in his warm-up doing a few punches, and let's see how many he does in that little split second.
Yeah, I think it's the kicks that are more unrealistic to me.
Let's see.
There was chaos around Tyson's dressing room area after Butch Lewis, Spinks' manager, complained about a bump in
That was like 9 punches right there.
I don't know about 9. It was like
7.
6.
There was 7, and I don't even
Okay,
think it was a
7.
full second. And that's Mike Tyson doing it. He's strong. So somebody that's like a little, smaller,
Yeah.
could probably do, like Bruce Lee, for example.
Yeah.
Could probably do. I mean, the kicks, yeah, maybe, like we said. But I'm just saying, that's evidence right there. Mike's doing it. All right.
Tyson's left glove and demanded that it be rewrapped.
Moments ago, in the dressing rooms, a major controversy erupted. You're looking at a tape shot of Butch Lewis, the manager of Michael Spinks, who went wild after he discovered that Mike Tyson had his hands taped and apparently had the gloves put on without a representative of Spinks' camp being in Tyson's dressing room.
Lewis's protest over the bump delayed the fight. Tyson began pacing his dressing room, and in a moment of anger, he punched a hole through a wall, and the thudding sound was heard by Spinks in his dressing room.
Butch Lewis, who's Spinks' manager, went, as you would go into in every championship fight, the dressing room of your opponent, to watch their hands being wrapped.
I had just finished taping his hands, and so Butch Lewis tried to make a thing about it.
Which so aggravated Mike, who was already on edge, that he threw his hand out through a wall.
Spinks had heard that, and that it was the sound of Mike punching the hole through the wall which had prompted Michael to be reticent about coming into the ring.
The matter was eventually resolved when Spinks' trainer, Eddie Futch, was called in, and he inspected Tyson's left glove and said that it was fine. As Butch Lewis and
So basically, they tried to play some mind games with Mike Tyson. The trainer tried to probably there was no issue with his raps, and they were just trying to throw Tyson off of his game.
Yeah, by stalling things.
Well, maybe getting him to lose his temper.
Yeah.
We did see later in his career when Mike lost his temper with Evander Holyfield, how that played out. You may or may not know, but that's when Tyson ended up biting Holyfield's ear.
Oh my God, yeah, I remember that. I remember hearing about that.
Right. So that was Holyfield frustrating Tyson, right? And that's how he responded.
Yeah.
And so maybe this is what they were attempting to do in this
like
instance. And he ended up punching a hole through the wall. But I know how the fight plays out, but clearly it didn't work to their advantage in this one, and probably just annoyed Mike even further and led him to want to go destroy him.
Yeah, for sure. I also just can't get over this guy's like floating bow tie. Like, what is this? Like, you're shirtless with a floating bow tie.
From the 80s fashion trends. So yeah, so they probably just made matters worse for Michael Spinks.
Futch was called in, and he inspected Tyson's left glove and said that it was fine. As Butch Lewis and everyone else involved left the dressing room area, Tyson turned to his trainer Kevin Rooney and said, I'm gonna hurt this guy. Legendary trainer Emmanuel Stewart was at the fight and went to check on Spinks during the delay and compared him to a deer caught in the headlights.
Headlights.
In an interview from the book, One Punch from the Promised Land, Stewart said, "I went into his dressing room and they couldn't even get him to come out. He was so scared. He was a nervous wreck, really freaking out. 20 minutes after he was originally due to ring walk, a visibly nervous Spinks left his dressing room and made his way to the ring."
Mike Spinks makes his way as the crowd touches him. He has more of a look of concern on his face as he makes his way to the ring. Oh, to see this. Michael Spinks makes his way into the ring.
In contrast, Tyson marched to the ring without a robe, bare-chested and dripping with sweat, with a deafening drone noise chosen as his entrance music.
This heavy metal sound that you hear is Mike Tyson about to make his way in, I believe. The sound is deafening here in the arena, so I won't try to yell over it. It's interesting to note that Mike Tyson selected as pre-fight music just noise. Every once in a while you hear the clanging of chains. I think that's what he's got in mind to do to Mike Spinks' head, but we'll wait and see. Everything that Tyson does is intimidating. There he is. He comes out. He doesn't wear a coat in. He's worked up a full sweat. I want to tell you, the electricity in this crowd is awesome. I've got goose pimples on my arms watching this event, and a lot.
You know, it's probably really hard for us to take in the magnitude of this. Like, we've watched UFC fights and boxing fights and stuff like that, and we watched their intros, and it's cool to see everybody's different intro and stuff, but really take in what people were feeling watching the fights, even being there live, the magnitude, like you said, of Mike. You know, we know he's vicious with his ability to punch, but then you see him coming in with this intimidating music, and, you know,
like
even
not even wearing his warm-up stuff. He's just like ready to go.
Yeah, well, it's almost like he's coming into, like, you know, like a backyard fight, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like when you used to be in high school or whatever, right? You just show up, all right, we're going to fight.
Yeah.
And that's the way Mike seems to be approaching it, rather than, you know, other fighters are approaching it like it's business.
Yeah.
And Mike seems like he's like,
no, we're just going to throw down right here, right now.
Like, this is what I do. I just fight people, you know?
Well, especially after the stunts that were just pulled, he's probably like, nah, we're not playing with any of this.
Yeah. So it's just interesting, though, watching this, reflecting on it, being a big fan of fights in general, and knowing, you know, how intimidating certain fighters can be, how much entertainment that would have provided at the time.
Oh, for sure.
Watching Mike, knowing Mike has a fight, and you're like, you get to see him come in with this music, and, you know, like he's saying, I've got goosebumps watching it.
He's
right?
like, what's gonna happen?
Yeah. So it must have been cool to really be able to watch these things
like in that
live.
energy. Yeah, for sure.
A lot of people in here do. You know all the history. You've been reading about it for the past several weeks. The heavyweight champion of the world comes into the ring. This is why we're here.
Spinks continued to look nervous during the introductions, while Tyson bounced around and paced up and down the ring. And when called into the center of the ring for the referee's final instructions, there was no eye contact between the pair.
All right, both of you touch gloves. Good luck to both of you.
Tyson attacked Spinks from the opening bell and landed a solid left hook to the head and a right hand to the body.
Michael Spinks, give him a little movement. Keep those hands high.
After being constantly pushed back, Spinks tried to slow Tyson down by clinching him a couple of times.
Tyson not afraid, as we expected, and Spinks ready to mix it up with him.
A minute into the contest, Tyson attacked Spinks along the ropes, and a left uppercut followed by a right hand to the body forced Spinks to take a knee.
Uppercut landed inside, and Spinks went down. It was the left uppercut.
I was surprised there was a body shot that put him to the canvas.
After Spinks took a count of 8, both men moved towards each other. Tyson rolled with a right hand from Spinks and responded with a left-right combination that landed flush on the jaw and put Spinks down again.
A right hand right on the chin.
6, 7, 8.
Spinks was unable to beat the count, and the fight was over after only 91 seconds.
He's not going to make it. It's all over.
What happened? What was all the delay about before? Do you think Michael just didn't want this to get here this quick?
Well, I think he was trying to scrutinize with my brain and make me wait it out. But, I was getting upset. I wanted to go. I'm the kind of guy who just want to fight. Let's get in there and fight.
I'm in the dressing room with Tyson, and I'm looking to rattle this guy. I walk in, and he's punching, standing there. He and Rooney's putting something on. He's punching holes in the wall. I'm like to myself, oh no. This guy's getting ready to fight my guy, my little guy. And he's punching holes in the wall before he goes out to fight. Oh no.
And that's wild too. Like, I knew that he won that fight, but I didn't know he won it in 91 seconds.
Yeah, that's wild. And like all that context there.
Because his opponent there was really well renowned. Like, he was everybody was looking forward to that fight because they were like, okay, isn't this the one that Mike is not going to be able to take care of business in?
Plow through in 2 seconds.
And he just, one thing that was so remarkable to me, like we talked about the intimidating aura, right? But he was so calm.
Yeah.
Mike was so calm, like getting into the ring, just standing there. He's just like, I'm just going to do my thing. No problem.
F you up.
Just walk in the park, and then he just comes in and that intensity and the ferocity just explodes in a matter of, like we said, 90 seconds, and you just cannot stop it.
It's mind-blowing.
I think he had something crazy, like 14 of his first fights were knockouts, or I can't remember. Well, it was something crazy like 14 of 18 were first round knockouts or something like that. He's just got such a crazy resume.
Yeah, just like ferocious.
Yeah, and in light of that, we'll give them the answer to that question.
Yeah, so he was the youngest world champion at 20, heavyweight champion at
First
20.
Became heavyweight champion of the world at age 20, which is pretty crazy. So what were your thoughts on that, Sam? I kind of jumped right in there.
He's scary.
He's scary.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like in that sport, obviously you need that, right?
Yeah.
But it's kind of just unfortunate that he obviously was doing so well. And then, as we know, he went to prison and then could never really make a comeback from that, right? Which is kind of unfortunate because had he have just not got himself into that predicament.
Yeah, but I mean, we don't know I know it, but you don't know his full backstory of kind of where he evolved from initially. We said he started fighting at 18 professionally, right? And that's because he started training so early on, and he was doing that 24/7. Before that, he was out in the streets basically, and he ended up getting associated with a really well-known trainer, one of the highest regarded trainers, and the trainer kind of took him in and ended up being a father figure to Mike Tyson and trained him, and he just trained all the time. He didn't really ever learn life skills or anything like that.
Yeah,
he just
I remember
learned how to
you
fight.
listened to his interview on Joe Rogan once.
Right.
And I remember him talking about like his early on life and his upbringing and stuff.
Yeah. So, there's a lot there. And I think that he learned how to fight, didn't learn the life skills that were probably needed. But as you alluded to, him being scary, that paid off in the ring, didn't pay off outside the ring because he didn't know how to break between the two.
Yeah.
Right. He was just an intimidating figure all the time.
In life. Yeah.
Until he learned later, which, I mean, he's not a perfect guy, and, everybody has their flaws, and he, like you said, had, his issues, which he had to, rehabilitate himself for. And, that was a journey, but I am happy to see where he got to, because not a lot of people that become as great as he did and have as many problems as he did later in their life, we're talking, late 40s, 50s, have this sharp turnaround and be able to see the light, so to speak, and live a happier, longer life, because he was going down a path where he was probably going to end up dead or in jail for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
So,
and I mean, he's been able to do a lot since obviously all of that, like as a businessman and helping with like other fighters and stuff like that.
Well, even Francis Ngannou, he just trained in Ghana for his fight, and he's training him again for his next one, which is coming up in March. So, that's what I mean. Like, you can, it's crazy. You have the ups and downs, right? He went from initially not having anything in life to being the world champion, the best of the best. Everybody wanted to talk to Mike, be around Mike, all these things, then fell off, the worst of the worst. And then now he's back and, enjoying life and making the most of it again. So it is really wild.
Yeah, lots of ups and downs for him.
Yeah. And, but it is a testament that, you can recover and you can do a lot of things with your life if you try. So anyways, enough with that. that stuff. But you had mentioned he was intimidating, scary.
Yeah.
And like I said, that was inside, outside the ring. That's his personality. But, it's amazing how your early experiences in life can shape you as an individual. And
for sure.
He wouldn't have turned into the person, fighter-wise, probably without those.
No, 100%. And I mean, like you said, there's a lot of negative to that, but it kind of shaped him into the opportunities that he was able to take advantage of later on.
Anyways, guys, that's it from us today. We did Mike Tyson's intimidating aura. Let us know what your thoughts are about Mike Tyson. Let us know if there's anything else that you want us to check out. We always appreciate your insights. But that's it from us today. We'll be back tomorrow.
Thanks for watching, guys. See you then.